I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture. I like to combine theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. With the Drunk Rider's first stumble event complete, there was time left for some exploring, including more time at popular sites in San Antonio, then heading to Texas Hill Country to see the home and ranch of a world leader, before returning home to the Pacific Northwest. As some of those who attended El Stumble went back to the airport to head home, and others to their hotels for the night, I spent more time in downtown San Antonio to enjoy Riverwalk a bit more. One of the things I hadn't noticed last time I was here was the large number of fountains and water features along the way. Since it was closed when I was here 2 years ago, I went back to the Alamo to wander around inside. As it turns out, the plaza in front of the chapel was on the inside of the fortification that was the Alamo, while the walled area you enter was added later on. The plaza area does offer some neat things to see, including weapons from the battle and molds that show the layout of the Alamo over the years. Going inside gives you the opportunity to see some beautiful garden spaces. Along with the likes of living history performers to tell you about life at the time of the Alamo. Unfortunately, the exhibit space was closed due to COVID restrictions, but it was still neat to explore the site more and have a chance to see remnants of the old fortification. Before heading to my hotel in Austin, I wanted to get a treat from a Texas institution, Whataburger's Dr. Pepper milkshake. Unfortunately though, due to the recent winter storms, they didn't have it available. During my drive back to Austin, I tried 2 other locations to see if they had it, but unfortunately it seemed to be a problem across the chain that they were missing multiple items on their menu due to the inability to get more supplies because of the storm, so I'd have to wait for another time. The bad luck continued while watching TV in the hotel room as the mirror above the desk randomly fell off the wall and landed on the desk lamp. Looking at the wall, it seemed that the mirror wasn't very well anchored, but at least the front desk staff was understanding when I explained the matter to them. The following morning, I took a drive to the Texas Hill Country to visit Johnson City, the hometown of former President Lyndon B. Johnson. The Lyndon B. Johnson National Historic Park offers a look at different places in the area connected to him and his family who lived here since the 1800s. You can follow the Johnson Settlement Trail to visit the area where Lyndon's paternal grandparents settled after his grandfather attempted to herd cattle from Texas up to Abilene, Kansas. You take a bit of a trip back in time to just after the Civil War. This is when Samuel and Eliza Johnson made this their home. The fences standing here are similar to those that could have been found in that era, and the cottage they lived in remains standing, giving you a glimpse back at the more simplistic life of this ranching family. There are several other barns and farming structures nearby the cabin that have seen over a century of agriculture. Even today, you'll find livestock here, including the longhorns that Texas is famous for. Completing the loop and heading back, you can fast forward in time a couple of generations and pay a visit to the boyhood home of LBJ. Not only was this home where he grew up, but it's also where he launched his first congressional campaign, leading to a future in politics that saw him rise to the nation's highest office. Lyndon was quite invested in his hill country home, as he met with President Franklin D. Roosevelt to seek a waiver for the area to gain electricity, as it hadn't originally qualified due to a lower population density that was initially required during the efforts to provide power lines to more sparsely populated regions of the nation. The local electric cooperative continues to provide the region power as the largest electrical cooperative in the nation. There is a visitor center that offers exhibits dedicated to the career of LBJ, but it unfortunately was closed due to the pandemic. About 12 miles further west in the town of Stonewall is the location of LBJ Ranch, which has several other points of interest as you arrive, including the reconstructed house of his birth, where his family lived until he was about 5 years old. Just down the trail from where his life began is the location of his final resting place. Here he lies with members of his family, and right next to him, his wife and former First Lady, Lady Bird Johnson. You can take a driving tour around the ranch with several signs along the way sharing information about the life and efforts of the former president and First Lady. There's also a few locations to enjoy a slightly higher elevated view of the surrounding hill country. While you expect to see animals on a ranch, I wasn't anticipating seeing deer roaming here. But further into the drive, there were other animals to see, including more longhorns. And before heading back on the loop, there was a large herd of Hereford cattle grazing or relaxing either in the midday sun or in the shade of a nearby oak tree. Near the latter half of the driving tour loop, you'll find something that isn't a usual part of a Texas ranch. A smaller jet airplane with a paint scheme similar to that of Air Force One. This Lockheed Jetstar was dubbed Air Force 1/2 and used by President Johnson to visit his ranch during his presidency, which required the building of an airstrip in the middle of the ranch. The parking area for visitors to stop at this part of the ranch was used for the taxiing of the plane to the hangar. Near the plane and hangar, there are more sights to see, from the 1970s automobiles the Johnsons used to drive around the ranch, to their ranch house that was dubbed the Texas White House. This place saw its share of folks sitting on the porch and enjoying the day, along with cabinet members meeting with the president to discuss plans and strategy. While it's neat to explore the park associated with the life and career of the 36th president, it was time to head back to the airport in Austin to catch my flight home. But on the way there, I found one last Whataburger outside of the airport, so I decided to give it a try and found that they had a Dr. Pepper milkshake. It was an excellent way to end this long weekend in Texas. But now, the time had come to head home to the Seattle area. It was neat to see downtown Austin on the way out, and further into the flight, we saw gorgeous snow-capped mountains near the border of New Mexico and Colorado. Eventually, we found ourselves in the familiar clouds of the Pacific Northwest, but they were high enough to see downtown Seattle from above as we approached SeaTac Airport.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to be the first to welcome all of you to Seattle. The local time is now 7:35. On behalf of all of the employees here at Alaska Airlines, especially your San Diego-based in-flight team and the two fine pilots that brought us here safely, it's been our privilege having you with us. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great night here in Seattle, or wherever your final destination may be.
In my case, Seattle would be my final destination. Until the next adventure comes up. Thank you for watching this Coastin' with Culture video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below to see future videos here on YouTube, like these ones which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coastin' with Culture on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.